I'm standing in the wilds of Canada. For generations, a nation that has been a world leader in the export of raw smug. But now, that smugness is being put to the test as they compete to get the vaccine. Will they succeed? Or will they show up at the wrong Shoppers or hockey arena? Find out on The Amazing Vaccine Race Ontario.
Social media can be a pretty depressing place right now, especially during COVID-19 and all the pandemic talk. But it also can be laugh out loud funny if you find the right person to follow. And there's no better person to follow right now than Stuart Brittlestar Reynolds, who lives in Stratford, Ontario. And we're catching up with him today to find out how he's become so successful when so many others haven't during the pandemic. Hi, Stuart. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for making Brittlestar my middle name, too. That was great.
It's like Cher, Madonna. I could just call you Brittlestar. But people should know you actually have a human name, let's say. Do you think this was kind of a perfect storm, your videos during a pandemic? I'm going to assume you gained a lot of followers in the last 15 months. Is that true?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Certainly on Twitter, for sure. Less so on the other platforms, but definitely on Twitter. And I think that just kind of speaks to the type of content that I was creating and the type of, news environment and the zeitgeist of this past 15 months is that, people were hearing stuff. They were eager to get new information. They were eager for updates. And it made my job fairly easy to kind of go in and say, okay, well, I can help kind of chew this message up and maybe spit out a version that's a bit easier to digest or at least a bit more comedic. Because it was pretty dark. I think people don't realize that the past 15 months was a really dark time and certainly for a lot of people. And I think there was kind of an opportunity for me to at least, kind of do what creating videos did for me back in 2013, which is just at least give me a reason to laugh at least once a day, which is good.
It'd be like if your house was engulfed in flames and when the fire truck rolled up, you stopped them to ask where the water was from. Tap water? That'll just leave hard water stains. No thank you. Distilled water or nothing. Let it burn to the ground.
Are you surprised at the positive reaction to all of this, to everything you do?
No,
I'm assuming most of it's positive.
I've got a pretty big ego, Jane, so no, I'm not surprised at all. No, I mean, it is great. I mean, one of the things that's most amazing to me is realizing that there's a utility for the content that I'm creating. There's a reason for it. And I think that people they watch those videos and they share them so that they share them as a form of self-expression. This is how I feel about this, or this person's sort of summing up how I feel about this. Or look at this idiot. Like, just look at a stupid guy who just can't get his ideas together.
And putting something between those face holes and other people's face holes will prevent those people from being showered in death cooties. So, with it embarrassingly obvious as to why we need to wear masks for a bit, how do you deal with people who aren't wearing them?
I think once you realize there's utility and that it's affecting people's lives in a real way, that's surprising, but it's also like incredibly motivating too. Incredibly motivating.
Have you had bad reaction? What's kind of been the worst thing?
I mean, in the past 15 months, not so much. I mean, I think there's people who are, there's some anti-mask people, anti-vaccination people, and I mean, I don't have to, I poke fun of those people because it's easy.
Mock them from a safe distance. I'm not talking about posting pictures or videos. There's no need for that. We all know what an idiot looks like.
But also it's like I don't have to work too hard at poking fun of them because, science does that pretty well. Science is doing a good job. So science and reality have really taken care of that angle for me. But I think, we certainly had our share of negative reactions over the years. But in the past 15 months, it's kind of been, and then also my policy kind of is for myself is that I don't need to dance with everybody who wants to dance. So that's fine. If you don't like it, just, see you later. That's fine.
You seem like such a natural, like you come from Stratford. There's a huge theater community there. Did you grow up in theater? Did you do a lot of theater before you did this?
Acting terrifies me. And the theater, I was born and raised in Stratford and I've now moved back to Stratford. It's a weird town because of the theater. It's like a town of 32,000 people that in normal times swells to over 500,000 people during the summer. And it's got a lot of sort of weird, cool cultural aspects to the city, which I really like. And live theater terrified me. When I was growing up, I used to love going to the theater, but I would be like a ball, and I still am. I'm a bag of nerves.
I do. I'm a dad, that's what I do. You can find me with a beer by the barbecue. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
You're a natural. I mean, I'm guessing you were always a funny guy. You always like to crack jokes. I'm guessing that comes naturally to you.
I think, I mean, my family's kind of that way. We're a Scottish family, and it's kind of the idea of like you have to make everything funny, and the goal when you're chatting with people is to make them laugh all the time. So even in sort of dark times or times that there's dark situations, it's kind of like there's always a way to find a little bit of humor somewhere that just takes the edge off a bit.
I'm tired of stupid people. The pandemic has been like turning on an ultraviolet light in a hotel room that has made you distressingly aware of just how much stupid is around you at all times.
How do you describe what you do? Because it's very particular to you, it seems like. It's kind of a mix of news and comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my style of content, I think, is to look at Zeitgeist or current events and kind of hold them up and go, are you guys seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Are you interpreting it the same way that I'm interpreting it? And I usually try to pick those topics in the way that I think surely other people must be thinking the same thing.
Oh, hey America. The relationship between Canada and the United States of America goes back hundreds of years.
And it's just kind of the unsaid sort of underlying bit of it. But I mean, so it's very personal, it's very much my own thing, and it's very much my own perspective, and it's very much a case of me saying, listen, I'm not very smart, so don't listen to me, but I'm smart enough to let you know that I'm not very smart. You should talk to smart people.
Who are your comic inspirations growing up and now even? Who do you really like?
I mean, growing up and still is SCTV, that whole crew of people. I used to stay up late to watch when Andrea Martin was here at the theater in 1980. I, made my mom stop the car and have us go up and talk to her. I mean, SCTV is a huge influence, and I think that's kind of what I'm able to kind of do is create that kind of silly sort of sketch comedy that's super low budget.
Macho man, I wanna be a man. Wait a minute, didn't I see you around the corner last night?
I mean, I know they had like very little money to make those episodes, and I think, yeah, I have less money than that, but I have better equipment now, so that's good.
Do you have any famous fans that you've been surprised to find out about?
I mean, yeah, there's one of the things that's sort of really fun about Twitter is that you get to see people who really enjoy your stuff, like Dave Bautista, and John Cryer is a fan, and I mean, I've been invited to the White House by the Obamas, and it's weird to think that people know who you are, but it does my ego really good though. So,
what was the White House occasion? I'm just curious.
That was for the arrival ceremony of Prime Minister Trudeau. So that was there was a whole bunch of Canadian celebs, I'm air quoting there, and I was not invited to the state dinner. However, I was invited to the lawn. Well, that was exciting.
Well, Trudeau leads us to hot topics. If you don't mind, we're going to throw a couple at you and see what you have to say. So speaking of Trudeau, is he a gift to comics?
I mean, in a sense, I mean, yeah, because there's a bit of swagger, which I think is genetic, and I think that leads to some folly for sure. But he's just so good at that swagger.
No, we will not apologize for swaggering.
That he kind of the next guys down just don't match up yet. Like they're even funnier, even easier to make fun of. I think it's just it's not an even playing field yet, I don't think.
Are you worried about Bill C-10 and being censored in any way on the internet?
My biggest concern about Bill C-10, this is an exciting question. My biggest concern about Bill C-10 is that I don't have a lot of faith in CRTC. I think there's a lot of good in the Bill C-10. I think that any content creator in Canada is immediately at a disadvantage by being in Canada unless they create content that appeals to Americans. So for example, me, creating content about Alberta's vaccine lottery, nobody, like I had a meeting last week where I had to explain to people in LA that Ontario was a province, So that kind of content needs to be protected because people want to see it. I mean, I think the numbers that I have on my videos, the hundreds of thousands of people who watch them, there's people that want to see that stuff, and we have to make sure it doesn't get drowned out by, I don't know, stories about Kalamazoo or something. I don't know.
Do you think we're done making fun of America?
No, never. I mean, I think there's enough comedy both ways. I think I'm not done making fun of Canada. I'm not done making fun of America either. There's lots of stuff to make fun of.
Well, let us know where we can find you, and everyone else can find you. So what are your pertinent addresses on social media?
So if you log into any social media platform and you look for Brittlestar, you'll see my beautiful black bespectacled face, and that's how you know you've got the right guy.
And I meant to ask you, you in this for the long haul, like beyond COVID?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years, and it's still a treat to be able to wake up in the morning and realize, okay, well, what am I going to create? Like this morning, I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to create this piece about vaccinations or whatever, and I get to do that. How great is that? That's amazing.
Well, let us know what you guys think about what Brittlestar is doing on our Facebook and Twitter, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Jane Stevenson for Sun Media. Thank you so much to Stuart for joining us today.